Me?
Yes, I can.
Hi everyone, I'm Shambhavi and I'm host of today's session. Welcome to Techsahead. Our community is an open platform for all students to learn and grow together. At Techsahead, we believe in the power of knowledge to enhance humanity and make greater impacts. For tech enthusiasts, budding entrepreneurs, designers, and curious learners, Techsahead is here for you. We organize peer to peer learning sessions, engage with people, and make sure you learn from the best. To stay updated about the latest trends in technology, join us. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker, Shannon Sloan, who is going to enlighten us about the Microsoft Explore program. Tell me about yourself, Shannon.
Yeah. So I am currently going into my final year at Rochester Institute of Technology. I have been at Microsoft for 3 summers. I started the summer of 2019 with them doing the Explore program, and then I have done their regular software engineering internship the past 2 summers, and I am currently there finishing up my final internship with them, and hopefully will be returning next year full time.
What exactly is Microsoft Explore?
So the Microsoft Explore program is their up-and-coming program. It is specifically meant for women and minorities in tech who are in their first or second year of college. And typically it's geared towards people who have never had an internship or a lot of experience in tech. It has lower requirements than like their regular internships where you only technically have to take your first computer science class and Calculus 1 to be eligible to apply and do the program. Though sometimes you may need more experience, but typically just that first internship and typically first or second years are the only ones eligible, unless you're in a 5-year program and then it gets different.
Is this for Indian students or not?
I do not know. I believe they should have them in different countries. You might not be in the Redmond campus. I believe the Redmond campus internships are only for North America students, but they do offer other internships in all of their, or most of their larger remote campuses. So I believe they should offer Explore in those campuses as well.
Okay. So, what do we need to prepare? Do we need to prepare anything for this, for getting selected in this program?
The easiest way, get a solid resume. I had personal projects from high school. That is going to be something that's really helpful to have. It's technically not required, but for any internship, having something to talk about is really nice. And even if that's just a personal project from class, I've seen a lot of people do that. The interview questions are actually pretty easy, minimal data structures. They ask you how to like reverse a list, see if a number's in a list, simple questions like that. It is very behavioral based, as they don't really expect you to have all of the beginning knowledge that like all those in-depth data structures. They don't expect you to know things like binary trees, things like that, because those would technically be in your upper level classes. So those basic questions, maybe if you want to do like leak code, like the easy questions, but I didn't prepare any of those, and it was very basic, like reverse a list, search a list, and you can choose whatever language you want it to be in. So a lot of people do Python or Java, and it doesn't matter what language you do it in.
Okay. So, what is the procedure? Like, how to apply for this?
So I applied slightly differently because Microsoft comes to our campus at school. I talked directly with a recruiter. You can also apply online. The internship should be opening up soon if it's not already open. Apply early. The earlier you apply, because for Redmond, there's about 300 spots available. So it is a very small internship. And once you apply, recruiter does their recruiting things and eventually should reach out to you to schedule a phone screen interview. That is, I believe, half an hour to an hour long. Typically, it's full behavioral. For some reason, I had some easy tech questions, so be prepared for that just in case. And then after that, in a pre-COVID world, you would get flown to the campus and you would have 3 to 4 hour-long interviews with different people. Again, those are heavily focused on like easy technical skills as well as like design questions and behavioral questions. I believe because of COVID, they are doing those virtually. But like, again, very easy, very basic questions. And after that, you should hear back in about 2 weeks if you got the internship. The timeline will change if you are applying later. I recommend applying no later than mid-September, or you will have a very long waiting period between all the steps, because the program fills up very quickly.
How do you stay updated for such opportunities?
Check the internship websites. Microsoft careers.microsoft.com, I believe, lists all of them. If they don't recruit at your campus, it's the easiest way. I haven't seen it on LinkedIn anywhere that these positions are open. It could be they're not open yet. I do not know if they are open yet. They should be opening soon, though. But all of those, the websites I find are the easiest. If you have friends who are at the companies, they may know. Again, I do not know if they're open, but they typically open around this time, so I just start checking.
How many selection rounds are there?
There are 2 interview rounds that you'll go through, and it is on a rolling basis, which is why I recommend apply early, because it's constantly going until they fill up. I typically see it fill up and people aren't getting interviews anymore by mid-November is when it seems like the cutoff is, and then they'll have like an overflow in like January for all the people who did not accept. But there's 2 interview rounds that you'll do. Typically it's a phone, like on the phone, like over like Zoom or something, and then in person. But I believe right now that in person is also done over technically Microsoft Teams, but basically Zoom.
What is the selection criteria?
Basically, to get an interview, you have to be a female or minority in tech. So basically, not a white man, is the typical criteria, and then you have to do have taken your introductory class or currently in it, for computing, and your calculus 1. Those are like the bare minimum. They like to see projects. They like to see a little bit more coding. So typically second years are the ones who get these jobs, not the first years. But yeah.
What is must in resume one must not forget to put to get shortlisted for such programs?
Could you
Like
repeat that?
people have these problems that their resume doesn't even get shortlisted.
I have no idea, honestly, how to basically to guarantee you get an interview. I've even heard that getting a reference there's nothing you can do to guarantee you're gonna get heard. Some people I've heard have gotten references and that helps, but I've been told by recruiters all it does is get your resume quicker in front of them. It doesn't guarantee an interview. So having more on your resume, having a personal project can be really helpful it shows that like you will actually like coding, because they're trying to find people who like code but who might not be interested in going because the field is dominated by white men. And they want to get those minorities in there and interested and get them into their pipeline.
So, how was your experience overall?
I really enjoyed my experience. I was the last intern class in person before COVID. So my experience with the Explore program is geared towards the in-person. I don't know what it's like virtually, but they really try and get you to know stuff. You're in a group with 2 other interns, so instead of working by yourself on a project all summer, you've got some friends to work with. The projects tend to be easier and they tend to have less pressure on you. So like for my first summer, my group and I, we didn't finish our project and it was fine, and we all received return offers to come back for the regular internships. They do a lot of in-person. They do a lot of programs. The in-person events really, it's basically the same as like the regular software internship, where Microsoft will hold talks with like top people, things like that. And they have like their big intern day where they have music and stuff, and they focused a lot that summer on giving. So there was a lot of things you could do that were focused around like giving back to the community. So like you could go and write letters to people in hospitals. You could go help pack food boxes for the food pantries, things like that. And they focus a lot on that. And especially with the Explore program being for first and second years, they have more social events for them. So they would schedule monthly ice cream socials where you could go and they would have like top people from the company there that you could go and talk to and get to know about them and network. Granted, I don't know if that's because they've changed the program in the past few years due to COVID. Networking to change teams was a really big thing my first summer, because it was non-COVID year and we could very easily do that. And then it also depends on your organization. So like my organization was very small that summer. There was a total of 50 interns. So they would do things together. So you could like go get lunch with people, and the full-time people will be willing to take you out to lunch and pay for your lunch because they want to get to know the interns. That's the nice thing, is interns are very special and they treat them very special, and you can literally message almost anyone in the company and set up a chat with them.
Why should one apply for this?
So I really wanted to start getting internship experience. I go to a school that I have to do internships to graduate, and I've always been told the first one's the hardest to get. So I thought, oh, well, this one is specifically geared towards women and minorities and younger people in the tech world. This should be easier for me to get. And they also, a recruiter came specifically talking about the program, and I thought it would be a good experience to get my foot in the door and not worry about as much stress of working on a project by myself. I could get to work in a group of people and work on a project and build those connections and gain more confidence in my coding skills, because work coding and school coding are 2 very different things.
Any tips from your side?
Don't stress. I have this issue where I stress out about every little thing, and that does not give you any help. So honestly, having that confidence in yourself that you know what you're doing is something that's really, really important. If you don't have that confidence, it's likely to be shown that you either don't know what you're doing and you're faking it, or something's going on. So having that confidence is really important. And just knowing that you know what you're doing and not freaking out. I know that sounds very cliche and a lot of people say that, and I have struggles with that, but knowing that you're good is helpful. Knowing that they want you to interview. There's a reason they want you to interview and they think you'd be a good fit.
Thank you, Shannon, for joining us and enlightening us about the Microsoft Explore program. It was a delightful experience to talk to
Yep.
you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having me.